So I've been asking God, how do I get real with people I don't know? Right now with this video, I'm reaching a 12-year-old atheist from Bulgaria. I'm reaching a Palestinian Christian who's been walking with God for 30 years. How do I even talk to a group of people I don't know about deep spiritual things that can change your life? And, there's not an easy answer to that question. I can try to tell you about my life and the freedom that I've received from Christ. And I know some of you are going to swipe right now. Okay, fine, fine. I was in a heavy metal band. I was pretty cold, pretty brutal, pretty violent, and God saved me from that. And what I want to tell you is something that's not easy for me to talk about. It's not easy, and that is that I was saved and went to hell. I died and went to hell. And it was not a great time. Okay. I'm not going to get into the details about what happened. I was in an accident. My face caved in. I was dead. I've come out of medicine now. I got more than one doctorate, and I was definitely now, based on the testimony, dead for longer than 15 minutes. And what happened to me was I went through, when my face caved in, I went through incredible pain. The pain was horrific and worse than I could imagine. And I'd had plenty of broken bones and stitches and things like that, concussions, been knocked out. And it was nothing compared to that. The face caving in was pain that I can't even describe to you. And then all of a sudden the pain stopped. And I remember being so relieved, and I just thought, oh wow, I'm okay, I'm okay, and I was just floating in blackness, and suddenly I realized I could see, and I was in this black void, and above me, and I get confused on the distance. Because it's not. When you're in such a huge place, it's hard to talk about the distance, but it looked like maybe 100 yards above me, maybe, was the floor of heaven. And it just went out eternally. Like it was just all over the place. And then I didn't have a body. And I started to come to the realization that heaven was above me and I was in this place. And I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to be here. What have I done? I'm going to be here forever. And I began to truly see my life. And I had asked, a famous TV evangelist had ridden with me on a plane when I was 9 years old. His name was Rex Humbard. And he had shared the gospel with me. And I had said, oh yeah, I'd like to believe that sounds good. So I asked Jesus into my heart when I was 9. And then I went to a couple Christian camps. After that, I had one great girl in high school. She invited me to a church meeting where I accepted the gospel again on TV in front of a lot of people. Whatever that's worth. But here I was, 18 years old and in an accident and dead. And I was in hell. And I remember thinking, man, I can't even move. I can't change my position. And then this hypocritical or contrary thought of, man, don't look down. There's stuff so dark down there that if I think about what's down there, I may go down there. And so I was paranoid. It's like, oh man, I don't want to think about that place. And I knew there were other people or beings where I was, but I couldn't see them or talk to them or anything. And so now, biblically, I would say that I was in the abyss. I was not in the lake of fire. I was in the abyss. And, I get it. I've been to seminary. I know all the theology, okay, eschatology, all that business. I know what the scripture says. And let me just say on that comment, there's an abyss. And then there's also talk about the lake of fire. Okay, I'm not claiming to have been in the lake of fire. I'm saying I went to the abyss, the outer darkness where there's weeping and gnashing of teeth. And I did though, man, I felt this this regret that was so intense. The best way I could describe it is like fire. It was so intense. The regret I had for not changing my life, for not doing something different was so intense. I can't tell you what it was like to be there and think, I'm going to be here forever. I am so dead and I am so in hell right now. And at the same time, I felt so cold because I didn't have a body. I couldn't put my face in my hands or cry or curl up in the fetal position because I didn't have a body. Just my consciousness, just whatever, this is. And I remember suddenly just thinking, I got to call on Jesus. I got to call on Jesus, So I started calling out his name and just, please come save me. And he came down from heaven. He came down out of heaven in this robe that was dipped in blood. And I didn't know what that was like. I didn't know that was Revelation 19 at the time. I had no idea. And he was, I don't know how far it was, maybe 50 yards from me and a little bit above me. And if he was talking, I couldn't hear anything he was saying. But as an 18-year-old fool, I said to him, I said, Lord, if you're going to save me, please send me back without any physical defects. But if you're not, please take me to be with yourself. And next thing I know, I sat up in all my blood that was all over me, and I was fine. I was back in the world, and the people that were there, they were freaking out. They were saying, man, you were dead. No, you were dead. We checked your pulse. You were so dead. And then, though, they were freaking out even more that my face popped back out. And they kept saying, doesn't your face hurt? Like, doesn't your nose, like, is your nose okay? And I remember I was pretty chill at the moment. Because of being back, I was in shock. And I remember I was like, yeah, man, my nose is fine. And then they said, look at your shirt. And it was just covered in blood. It was absolutely saturated in blood. And they just kept describing, they were like, you were white, you were still like, they went through all these symptoms. And now having spent 20 years in college after that, I know that I was well into rigor mortis for at least 15 minutes. And so my message, I guess, from this is you can't fake salvation. You can't fake belief. And it's not fire insurance. You either really have a relationship with God or you don't. And I'd love to tell you more about it. I'm just being honest. I'm sorry it's not maybe theologically perfect for everybody, but that's what happened to me. And it seems like it's worth sharing. So if you want to hear about how God had mercy on me and took me to heaven a couple years later, I'd love to tell you about it. You can, subscribe or whatever, because I don't know when I'm going to do that video. I don't know. And if you have any more questions about what it was like being in the abyss, because there were some more details I didn't really share, I'd be happy to share them with you. And I'm just going to be as honest as I can. So, there you go.